Hey all, Panzer Dragon here, aka Luigi Dragon, and today I want to be going over the top 5 best junglers for solo queue patch 4.10 edition. And recently, even though the jungle hasn't changed and no one really got nerfed, and my opinions on Ranger has changed, I feel like he's a really cheesy champion, and so he's not really consistent. And usually in solo queue, you kinda wanna have consistent champs who are really good at early game. And so I removed him and I've made a discovery of something really powerful and I feel is really OP. And it replaces my number 1 solo queue pick from my last patch tier list. And who might it be? Well, she's never been in a jungle tier list ever, but she has been in another tier list. But if you really want to find out who she is, you'll just have to watch the video. Alright, so first up we have Jarvin. I know I had Wukong in my last one, but again, I feel like they all fit 5th place. Jarvin and Wukong, they're both really good champions, but I think Jarvin is a bit more popular right now. There's not much people who play Wukong jungle anymore. I'm like the only jungler in Challenger who plays him right now. And I know why, it's because he has a really bad early game, and so people will take advantage of that. But anyways, let's talk about Jarvin. So again, Jarvin is really strong, he has really high base damage, and his ganks kick ass. And it's funny, he can actually carry games since he has really good AD ratios, so he can build AD. And he doesn't have to build AD, he's also a really good tank. His shield can give him about 510 health, and he can use it twice in one teamfight with enough cooldown reduction. And of course his initiation is really strong. People who are trapped in his cataclysm will be forced to flash, or use an escape skill. People who don't have escape skills are trapped forever, and can easily be focused by his team. And so yes, he does have really good pick and initiation. The only problem about Jarvin is that you now need to have skill to hit your EQ combo, since the EQ combo's knockup width has been reduced, but that was obviously a while ago. Next up we do have Evelynn. Again, right now she is really strong. She has her stealth, so she's immune to sight wards, and this forces the enemies to either deep ward in your jungle or to get pinks. And if you do spot a pink, you can just easily take it out when you go to that lane. And so it forces the enemy to play passive because you might be around to gank them. If they do not see you on the map, she can be possibly gank you as we speak. And so yes, her stealth inevitably gives her a really good early game. Even though she doesn't really have any CC until level 6, it's all about the stealth and the red buff. She also has a really good clear speed because of her Q that does AoE damage and is spammable. And her mid-game damage is pretty good. All her damaging skills are leveled up, she gains a high hit point shield and a soft initiation. She can flank the enemy team when they're grouped and then just surprise them with an initiation with her ulti. And now it's kind of like this, do we focus the Evelynn that's flanking us and peel her away from our carries? Or do we throw our CC at the people who are in front of us? And the enemy is forced to disperse their AoE damage on what could have been more if Evelynn hadn't flanked them. But of course it is a soft initiation, it's not a hard CC, and that could be a small problem if the enemy has kiting. And also her late game is not that great. Her damage seems to like kind of fall off. She doesn't really have any hard CC, she doesn't really have any peeling tools, and so that's her only problem. And at number 3 we do have Alise. He can probably duel anyone in the game, and he's really good at counter jungling and forcing the enemy back. His ganks are really strong since he does have high burst, high damage, and of course a lot of gap closer, and so that does make him extremely mobile around the map. He's obviously one of the top picks because of his early game. And once mid game and late game comes, he does have that insect initiation. So let's say you have an AD carry who doesn't have an escape. Twitch comes to mind, Jinx comes to mind. If they are fed, you can make that fed carry into a nobody since you just kick him to your team. And of course, Alise does have really good peeling since he can knock back people, give him a shield, and slow people. And so yes, his utility mid game and late game are still there, but his damage does fall off a bit since he isn't really building AD, and if he builds AD, then he's going to be squishy. And also it's really hard to catch Alise since he's like really jukey, and so it's like really hard to chase him, and he can be in certain areas of the map without dying, as opposed to other champions who say don't really have that really good of escapes. And again, his initiation isn't the greatest initiation. Some people can outplay you, so it might backfire. If you try to initiate, you might die because of it. Like if you tried doing that on Lucian, he can probably just dash out, and you'll knock him the opposite way you wanted him to. And so honestly, I feel that if you really want to play Lee Sin, you have to be good at Lee Sin and not just pick him up out of nowhere and expect to be good. Alright, next up we do have Alise. Alise is obviously a really high contested pick in competitive play. She has a lot in her kit, which makes her a really good early jungler. She does have 2 gap closers, and obviously a lot of early game damage, since her auto attacks do hurt in spider form, plus she has an attack speed steroid. And on Alise you can still have 5 pots at the end of your first clear, just because her spiderlings can tank the creeps. And so with those 5 pots available, you can keep that early game pressure up and just consistently gank lanes. you don't have to recall for a long while, and of course she's a pretty good duelist early, just because her damage is so high. And she also has the ability to dive people more often because of her repel, one of the most OP skills in the game, as it does kind of give you a free Zonius plus a gap closer. And mid game and late game, she doesn't really have an hard initiation, but she brings a lot of utility with her stun, as it does become 2 seconds of a stun. And so she has a lot of utility from that and can peel for her teammates, and of course her burst combo is good for nuking enemies and smacking them down. Overall, she does have really high pressure early game, and then when it comes to mid game / late game, she has like her 2-second stun on a 6-second cooldown, and of course she can fit into basically any team comp. Alright, so my secret number 1 jungler is Kayle. I don't really like putting other champs into certain tier lists, but my god, Kayle is pretty good at jungling. Yes, I know she's like a really OP champion right now for solo queue, since she does have one of the highest win rates in the game. But let me go on my rave about Kayle in the jungle. So Kayle's always been like a decent jungler, a niche pick sort of. Her ganks are really strong with the Q, and she brings a lot of damage with her E, and her clears become really fast once you get enough AP. But I don't think a lot of people realize this, and I recently realized this myself. But if you ever tried maxing out heal second instead of E second, it's literally having like Nidalee on your team and just spamming heal over and over so your team can keep sieging or doing whatever. And honestly, I feel like that's really broken right now. As say if you're like facing someone with poke like Ziggs, you can just sustain up that damage that you got poked on and just keep doing whatever you're doing. And so obviously like mid and top Kayle can do this, but what other jungler can be a carry, do a lot of damage, and bring a lot of utility to the team? There's like literally no one. And like of course if she gets ahead, you know how scary Kayles are when they are ahead. They do so much damage. They can even split push if they are really fed and can 1v1 everyone. They have wave clear sort of, and it's really scary and becomes a high threat into the enemy team. And also if you're like 0 and 3 in the game, remember you still have utility, you still have that ultimate that guarantees a 3-second invulnerability, you still have pretty good heals, so you can just let your team carry you. And yes, you're still pretty useful, and once you catch up in levels plus items, you'll be a late game monster. And this is how much I want to emphasize Jungle Kayle. I feel like I can win every solo queue game with Jungle Kayle, because what Kayle does is, if you get to late game with a Kayle, you automatically win the game. Because if you're fucking around with a Kayle on another team, and say you're like 20 and 10 and you get cocky, and then you do one baby throw and they catch up, and then they just like turtle the game out, you will lose the game probably. It's just because Kayle ensures you pretty good team fights. The only way I feel like you can win against Kayle is if you don't let her get to late game. And if you ever see like a Kayle getting fed early, it's like game over, because that already ensures her late game / mid game. You won't win team fights unless you somehow get a 5-man Malphite ult Yasuo combo. Hey, thank you for watching my tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Check out my other tier list for patch 4.10. So again, thank you for watching, and remember, Kayle OP. Remember to max Q first and W second be granted free elo. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.